All right, what's up, everybody? This is episode 113 of Hoops Talk with Dave's Joint. Shout outs to everybody that's been supporting us thus far. For those who haven't seen any of our episodes, go check us out on YouTube, Facebook, and IGTV. But before we start, we got to pay some bills real quick. This episode is sponsored by the Players Circle. I discovered the Players Circle in the App Store when trying to find a product to track athletes. The Players Circle is a social video platform where players can share their stats, highlights, and accomplishments. If you can hoop and you want to get discovered, then you should join the Players Circle. Go check that out on the App Store right now, the Players Circle. But without further ado, we have a very special guest tonight. This young man had a storybook career at St. Raymond High School, where he led them to a city championship and also a berth in the New York State Federation Championship. He also played Division I basketball at UMBC and Manhattan College and played overseas. Today, he's an educator and also a filmmaker. Tonight, we have with us Mr. Peter Mulligan. Pete, thank you for coming on to share your testimony.
No problem, man. I appreciate the intro too, man. Thank you.
So let's get started from the very beginnings. When did basketball first start for you?
Probably started like 10, playing around. My grandmother lived across from Harlem Choir Academy, and they had the court out there. So like on the weekends, I would just be outside playing, mimicking the NBA. I love the NBA. I love the Knicks, Starks, and I just started like that. Then I found Milbank at about 12 years old. I lived 2 blocks from Milbank, so I signed up in there, and then you start playing 21 for booms and 2-on-2s and all that stuff. And then I started slowly playing some tournaments, the 875s back then, Children's Aid Society, Milbank Douglas, those type of stuff.
Okay. So, talk about growing up in Harlem in the 1990s. What was the basketball culture like, and what was the overall culture of Harlem?
Oh, Harlem was the best, man. Harlem was legendary throughout those times. I mean, you talk about my high school era, or even before that, just I lived like 4 blocks from Rice, just from the Rice parties to, skate keys not in Harlem, but that was my era. Harlem was it, some of the Harlem.
Indeed. So, as a kid, what were some of the tournaments that you loved playing in?
Rucker, the 145th Rucker, that was always a good tournament. And then, it used to alternate from Milbank and Rucker. So that was always a big one early. Just Say No was cool, was always a cool tournament. I remember first going out there, I would see some good players. So like Kev Bell, I would watch Kevin Bell and Majestic play in that. And, Mike McLeod at Milbank. And, so that's when I was like, oh, all right. This is a level. This is dope. This is what I want to play in this.
Mm-hmm. So, like you mentioned Milbank earlier. So, talk about like how long did you play for Milbank, and what was Milbank like back in the day?
Milbank was like a Disney World in the middle of Harlem. Like it was just so much fun. Bunch of kids. So many activities. You had swimming. You had basketball. You had dance. They had we used to play Skelsies and all type of fun. So Milbank was exciting, and then basketball was they had the Saturday program. I used to play with the biddies. They put the little rim on first, and then you you move up, and they just kept us in local tournaments. All the children play against all the Children's Aid Societies. Then you get in the Rucker, the 875. So Milbank had a lot of basketball to offer.
Now, yeah, you said I feel like Milbank, unfortunately, they don't get the credit they deserve, at least in the basketball community, because it's like a lot of the other programs. Like now, there's so many AAU programs, but the one thing that Milbank has over these programs is a gym, with the exception of Gauchos and Riverside, which is crazy. So, outside of Milbank, did you ever play AAU anywhere?
Yeah, I played with the Ravens since I went to St. Raymond's. Coach DeCesare, he had his own AAU team, the Ravens, which was mostly all players, but it would be a couple other outside big names from the city like Jeff Greer, Carl Krauser played with us before, Kenny Satterfield played all the time, Andre Barrett played all the time. So I played with the Ravens 16 and under, 17 and under. With 15 and under, I used to go away with Mr. Couch. Shout out to Mr. Couch. So I played a couple joints with Dykeman whenever I went to Providence with Mr. Couch. So yeah.
Yeah, man.
Around that time, Milbank, we weren't really traveling. It wasn't really that kind of situation at Milbank that time. Milbank big thing was the little lads, for the summers, a couple weeks at that camp. But as far as like AAU, it wasn't really, Milbank wasn't really doing that at the time.
So before we go back to the Ravens, we're gonna go back there in a little while. Now, high school choices. What made you decide to go to St. Ray's? Like you said, you lived a couple blocks away from Rice. Like, what made you decide to go to that school all the way up on Castle Hill?
Yeah, well, I went on all the visits. I knew I wanted to go to Catholic school. My mom wanted me to go to Catholic school, and St. Ray's was building a new gym, which was pretty cool. So, and it was such a big campus, and I didn't really want to go to Rice. I kind of wanted to like branch out the city and see different parts of the city, meet new people, and that worked out great for me because I got a lot of friends in the Bronx and Harlem. So I really wanted to go to LaSalle as well. I call him my brother. He went to Milbank and he used to pick me up from school. We would go to Milbank together. Kylie Young, Chopper. He played with Ron Artest at LaSalle. So I went on a visit there. I used to go to their games, but I ended up picking St. Ray's over them.
So let's talk about the beginning at St. Ray's. Like, so you go from going to a co-ed school to an all-boys school. Like, how was that transition in the very beginning?
It was fine for me. It didn't. I was still young. I was like, still a kid in the basketball. I wasn't really girl crazy or nothing. So it was cool. It was cool for me. St. Ray's was fun. We was kids. We was bugging out, man. We played wrestling in the hallway and all that, like watching The Rock, and like we was kids. It was cool. You get used to it,
Yeah, I went to Eagle Academy for
if you
young
don't,
men.
if you never have it,
yeah.
If you never have it, you're not gonna miss it,
Yeah. So it's like, the thing with all boys schools is that it's a brotherhood. I went to all boys high school too, Eagle Academy. Even though we were public, we had that camaraderie, the same type of camaraderie that y'all had at St. Ray's. Like my brother, he goes to Hayes, so he's probably experiencing that right now.
Yeah. And it's kind of like if you never had it, you're not gonna miss it. So like I said, when you come in as a freshman, you're still a little kid for the most part. You're not really into, or you dabbing in it, but once you get in there, you notice they're not there. You got to go see some girls after school. That was the thing we would do too. We go to like wait for like an Aquinas let out or another Catholic girls' school, Notre Dame let out, and we chill with girls that way.
Indeed. Now, did you start out playing freshman?
Yeah, I played freshman. I went freshman JV, varsity. So I guess you would call that the standard route or the typical route.
I see. Now, you moved up to varsity by your junior year, correct?
Correct, by my junior year, yep.
So yeah, at that time, so you got guys like Paul Nickerson. Carl Nickerson, Majestic Map, Julius Hodge, I want to say. So yeah, what was it like your junior year?
So my junior year it was exciting to get on varsity. It was we had high expectations. It was Majestic his senior year with Greg Morton. Those are our two like big players, known players. They were known nationally. Obviously, Majestic was All-American. Greg was also a big recruit. So we would have like all the coaches at our practices. That was pretty exciting, from Calhouns to the Bayhines. Our practices was crazy. Everybody was recruiting Majestic. For me coming up, it was just like trying to find my way. We had Julius was a sophomore, but he was coming up. Chris McCray was also a great young prospect, really good as a young player. He was a sophomore. He was coming up too. And then you had me, and then there was 3 other juniors who could also play. And pretty much we was gonna live and die with Majestic. So everybody else was just trying to figure it out. Like, how can I help the team? What's my role? How can we win these games? And it was just that kind of year. I feel like we underachieved. I think we lost in the quarterfinals. We lost a lot of close games. We could have been tough, man. But I just feel like we never really found a set role. Like, some people will play well. I'll play well a couple games, and somebody else might play well a couple games. Jules might not play for 4 games, and he might start the next game. Like, it was just kind of that type of year. The chemistry wasn't there. I would say we had the talent. Chemistry wasn't really there.
Yeah. Now, let's talk about the one person that St. Raymond's was, and always will be synonymous with, Gary DeCesare. What was it like playing for him?
Playing for Gary D was like, it was like playing for a real program, like even almost a college program. Like, you get with Gary D, you doing the track workouts, you lifting weights now, like seriously lifting weights, circuits and different stuff you wasn't doing before. We were working out in jump soles and hopping over, different those step things, and shooting with the with the nets and dribbling medicine balls. And it just became like a real serious stuff going on. And then, like I said, with the coaches coming and his status with Adidas and being a director of the ABCD camp, it was like he really was the godfather. So it was like just that world, everything was top notch. Everything was top notch, and you were around the best.
Now, yeah, shout outs to Coach DeCesare. I actually got to see him about a week or so ago in Miami. I was down there for the Pangos event. So he had his team. Well, he had a whole bunch of his players playing with the AAU team. Ray Allen was coaching. Yeah, so Ray
Allen coaching a team in Florida?
Yeah, he was coaching that weekend. I'm not sure if he coaches the actual AAU team. Maybe they had him there for just that weekend. I'm not sure, but he was coaching, and his son is legit, could shoot like him and all that.
Nice.
Yeah, man, the kid is good. So basically, yeah, him and E. Harris is down there.
E. Harris is his coach. I heard, man, and that's the thing about Gary. Gary's smart, and he got a mind for that world, for that basketball world, man. Like, he left St. Ray, went and built it up in Chicago, and I'm sure he's doing that now down there.
Yeah, man. So yeah, let's go back to the New York Ravens. Now, did y'all have all y'all practices at St. Ray's?
For the Ravens?
Yeah.
Not all of them. Some of them be at St. Ray's. Some of them, we used to sometimes work out in Boys Harbor.
Okay.
A lot of times you don't really practice. You just go, you know what I mean? You meet on Thursday, you might practice once, and then you go on a trip Friday kind of thing.
Okay, got you. So yeah, what was it like playing for that program?
For the AAU?
Yeah, the AAU Ravens.
AAU Ravens was also a lot of fun and a lot of top-notch stuff. I remember one dude, my man Terrell Grant, God bless him, we was going on a trip. I think a 3-day trip. We might have been going to Maryland or something. He literally came with an Adidas bag with one pair of socks in it. I'm like, yo, what are you doing? And he's like, yo, Gary D gonna give us everything anyway. And it was true. Like, we would have every trip, brand new sweatsuits, packs of socks, sneakers, and jerseys. So all that stuff was super fun. and we was going to, Maryland and North Carolina, all these places. We had some good time.
Yeah. I'm sure everybody wants to know, how is it that Kenny Satin and Andre Barrett went to Rice, but played for the rival AAU team? Everybody wants to know.
Well, that comes from the mind and the creativity of Gary D. Like Gary D, when you start your AAU program and then you got that status with ABCD and you're doing stuff over there, you're more than just St. Raymond's high school coach. So it's not really like you just loyal to St. Raymond's players like maybe a high school coach would be. Like, you know what I mean? You taking this to where you have control of this region, kind of, this New York City. Like, so with those two being great players, I'm sure, and the influence that DeCesare had, I'm sure it was like he made it a win-win for the program and for them, because when you next to a carry, you talking about McDonald's All-American nominations and exposure and able to show them like, look, you come do this with us, you can get through this, and this, and they probably done it with Gauchos and Riverside by that point, and you hearing this and you see Gary D is showing you what he got. It's a no-brainer for them, And then for him, like I said, for him as well, he was more so of a whole brand. It wasn't just, I'm coaching my kids at St. Raymond's. I'm building something in the city. I'm building an empire. Like that was how his mind worked. And that was the stranglehold he had on New York City. Like he was like Thanos or something, man.
Mm-hmm. Now, moving forward, let's talk a little bit about Rice. Like, how are those games? How are the rivalry games?
Man, all the Rice games was crazy. All of them. Like even from my freshman year, you'd be so excited that day when St. Ray's was playing Rice. Even the freshman game, your first game is sold out, packed. You were in a crazy atmosphere, just waiting for that last game. So it used to be crazy, man. People allegedly scalping tickets. My senior year, some of them games.
Mm-hmm.
Riverbank be packed. We played them in Riverbank. It used to be crazy. They used to dance on They used to embarrass us though. My freshman and sophomore year, like watching those games, it used to be crazy.
Then the last 2 years, y'all even up the score with them.
Yeah. Last 2 years, my senior year, we even up. That's when it started to turn. And then it went like that for a while, because then Jules won, then Gavin Grant and them started beating them. Then you know what I mean? So it's kind of like shifted the tide.
Yo, that's crazy, man. I was about to say, oh yeah, the gym. Talk about playing at St. Ray's, the gym. You know what I'm saying? Like you mentioned earlier, when I guess when you were just starting at St. Ray's, the gym was in the process of being built. So you got to play in it for 3 years. Like, talk about what it was like playing in that $1 million gym.
Yeah, like I said, it was a real facility. It was beautiful. You definitely was appreciated, and it definitely made you want to do well, do good, and hold your spot and shine out there and appreciate what you had. It definitely was a beautiful, beautiful gym. And when it gets crowded, once you get in those big games, it's not like it.
Indeed. Now let's talk about the biggest year, your senior year, 99-2000. Talk about that whole season.
Man, that whole season was crazy. It was full of emotions. It was like full of, excitement, sometimes down, all type of emotions, going just from everything from what I've been through my high school career, my basketball career. So what would I say? I would say I went to Mount Carmel in my 8th grade year, right? And I got cut then with pretty much I was there with all the best players in the city. They were number one in the, in the country or whatever as the 8th graders. So then to go into my senior year, and now I'm number one, and I beat the whole city and everything. It was just like a poetic justice in that sense. But I felt like going into that year, my AAU season, I felt like I really was dominating and playing great. Like I feel like me and Andre Barrett were like the best two players on the team, and it didn't really amount to much. We won a couple tournaments. Bob Gibbons, I think, and we won a tournament in Maryland. But my recruitment just didn't take off. And a lot of it I felt like was from Gary D focusing on, you know, other stuff. And, you know, it was like, yo, a lot of the team felt like that. You know, we watching Andre Barrett get extra sneakers, get all this stuff, get all these accommodations. And, you know, we feel that, you know, so we became close and we started believing in ourselves before the season even came. And nobody thought we was gonna be good. The whole talk was, oh, Majestic's gone, and you know, Julius Hodge is gonna need another year, and then, you know, and then they might be something. So it was a lot going on, and then we didn't get invited to ABCD. I didn't get invited, and my other two classmates who also played D1, we didn't get invited after playing, you know, AAU. And he just pretty much told us one day, like, yo, y'all not going to ABCD. Y'all didn't prove yourselves. Like, straight like that. So, so that crushes you. Like, that crushes you, knowing like, yo, this guy is our coach. This guy's the director of this camp. This guy's supposed to want to have our best interest and get us scholarships. Like,
wow.
How can you not let us go? You know what I mean?
He just shut y'all down just like that.
Just like that, yo. So we just wanted to, you know, we took all that and used it as motivation. And then even before the season started, I had two schools recruit me. I had LIU and UMBC. That was it. Like, he was telling me pretty much like, yo, all the coaches saw you. You know, you played great during AAU. You know, they think you're an undersized big man. They don't nobody wants you. You need to just take the scholarship so that you can have a Division I scholarship.
Wow.
I'm like, all right, let's take it. And then, you know, in hindsight, so it's always that type of emotion. Because when that happens one day and then you're the best in the city the next day, and everybody's like, why'd you sign there? Why'd you sign there? What's this? And then, you know, and this guy knows you and saw your whole development and seen you play for years. And how couldn't he see that? And for him not to let you even go to ABCD to get a better chance of getting recruited, there becomes a
resentment.
A resentment thing. And you still want to win, and you know, you got dreams of still winning championships, but that made the year good and bad. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's crazy. Like, your coach has so much power that, you know what I'm saying? It's like basically for him to say no, like, y'all can't go here, da-da-da-da. And I'm sure that really hurt a lot of your teammates. And those two teammates you were referring to were Walter Augustin and Darnell Miller, right?
Matt Augustin and Darnell Miller, yeah. Darnell ended up going to George Washington, and Matt went to St. Francis, Pennsylvania. So they both still went D1. And like, we obviously earned the chance to go to ABCD. We proved that in the first couple games of the season, like, that we should have been at that type of camp, especially if you're the director. So yeah, that hurt all of us, and that brought us closer together and made us like really put some serious work and some serious pain in to get ready for that season.
Do you feel like it was just some type of ploy that he had? You know, it's like this point, like, yo, I'm gonna just stop them from going to ABCD, and maybe this will make them work harder.
Nah, I don't think that at all. I think I don't know. I think he just did it. I think he maybe he wasn't a great eye for talent. Maybe Gary D was a great eye for, you know, for the creativity of it and seeing a great player, or seeing a great player that a lot of people know and building that. But I feel like maybe maybe he couldn't see players who knew the game. Because the thing about us is we knew how to think the game. We knew how to play. I don't know if he valued knowing how to play as much with like kind of the spectacle of a great player. So maybe he didn't know maybe he really didn't think we were that good. I don't know.
Well, the proof
But
is
I
in the
would think,
pudding.
why motivate us? Because let's be honest, he didn't think we were going to be anything that year. So what are you really trying to motivate us for?
Mm-hmm.
At this point, you should be trying to get us scholarships. You think you used to tell us, I expect us to lose like 10 games. We're not Rice is going to win it all. Like, so it was like, I couldn't think of it being motivation. I think he really just didn't see that we were that good. Like the belief wasn't there. He didn't believe in us.
That's crazy because I think, if I'm not mistaken, you guys went 27-3 that year, right?
Yeah, we went 27-3.
And then the team after you guys, the 2001 team, they lost more games than y'all did and still won a state championship, which is crazy.
Yeah.
Wow. But yeah, man. Also, so you guys played Rice. You guys also played against LaSalle. Talk about playing against Lenny Cook. Cause I know, like, for a while back, I know you had videos on YouTube talking about when you played against him.
Yeah, Lenny was good, man. Lenny was raw, he was athletic, raw ability, right? Raw ability. Athletic. Could do a lot on the court. Could do a lot, but at that level, like against teams like us and Rice, he wasn't just gonna be able to like just make it a show out there. Like you really was gonna have to work. I feel like Lenny had a lot of growing to do basketball wise. It was raw talent, but it wasn't. I feel like he didn't know the game as well, like as us, and he wasn't really able to get off against us. You know what I mean? Because I think we was able to think the game a little better. But my thing with Lenny, what I look at is, it's kind of like now with like people like now they having transgender athletes and they talking about should transgender athletes be able to compete with women, and they debating the fairness and all that. And then they start talking about why they come up with men's and women's sports. And then they talk about, and this is because the strength advantage, the grown advantage. And then they talk about why they develop age groups. Why is it 15 under? Why is it 13 under? And it's the same type of concept. It's because people are way more developed. People are, you have that natural strength, that natural growth event if you're 1-2 years older than people. So I just look at it like this. Like, I'm younger than Lenny. I'm 1 month younger than Lenny.
Right.
So Lenny was a sophomore and I'm a senior. And he's older than me. And we're competing. And I'm getting the best of him every single time. And I'm the best player in the city. But the perception is that he's the number 1 player in the country for a sophomore. The perception is he's just as good as Carmelo, LeBron. The reality is he's 2 years older than them. You know what I'm saying? So that's only my thing. I look at it like, and he gets the reputation as being one of the best to never make the NBA and all this type of stuff. Cool. But I just look at it like this. I touched college. I was still 17 years old. I was still 17. I touched college. My birthday was late. So I'm actually younger than a lot of people in my class. So my thing is, if you give me another year at St. Raymond's, I'm still touching college at 18. I'm still my right grade. Now what happens? I win Mr. Basketball again. Now you got to make me an All-American. Like what, you know what I mean? The whole thing, the whole perception changes and the whole opening possibilities change, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So that's my only thing. Like, a lot of people skip that when they talk about Lenny, how Lenny was. And Lenny was a great player. I don't want to take nothing away from him. He was a great player. But I just feel like, sometimes I feel like people act like ringing never is not a factor or wasn't a factor at a certain point.
Right.
Now, and it might not have been his fault for ringing. Like nowadays, people are getting left back on purpose. People used to ring back in the day because it was a situation. Their grades was bad or life situation.
Right.
But I just feel like at the back end, a lot of people get credit for maybe ringing or killing when they probably was ranked.
Or now left back is being called reclassifying.
Yeah, reclassifying.
They just made a new word just to make it look good. But oh yeah, and another, I think you kind of used like a rap analogy to describe him on Dribble and Dimes. I love that interview, by the way. But yeah, I love that analogy that you used. What was it again?
Oh, when I said my senior year was like it was like a Nas classic, I think, like an Illmatic, where it kind of came out of nowhere.
Mm-hmm, right.
You know, so, and I think I was saying like a lot of other players who are great in the city, they get that mixtape first. They get that junior year where now everybody knows them, everybody sees their potential. They playing a big role on that top team already, and the buzz is just there. And now the senior year comes and everything's already laid out for them, you know. Whereas I did it, and now I'm gone. There's nothing else for me. There's no like reaping the benefits of that, what comes with that, you know what I mean?
Right.
I get that, and then I'm gone. I'm at a low D1, like, you know what I'm saying? So that's what I was talking about for that analogy.
So your senior year was kind of like Illmatic and the Black Album all rolled into one.
Yeah, I would say it would, if you would, use an analogy, something like that.
Yeah, basically it was the start. It was grand opening, grand closing, pretty much.
Yep, pretty much.
Yeah. So going back to Rice, now you guys played them 4 times that year, and I believe you beat them all 4 times.
Yeah, we beat them all 4 times. Wow.
That's crazy. Like, how did y'all manage to do that?
Yo, it was just a perfect storm of fate, man. It was like God, like if you read it in the book, you wouldn't believe it, man. Like for us to go from not in the top 15 of the city to win number 1, for me to go from not one of the 30 best players in the city in the preseason write-up to being number 1, it was just fate. But the thing with our team, which was tough for everybody, is we was all about 6'4", besides Matt Augustin, and we were all like guards who could do a little bit of everything. It was hard to combat that. We was pressing, we were fast, and then you had some size on me. Julius was skinny, but he played tough. Chris McCray, so we could hold our own against those big teams. So we was just hard to match up with. So like Sweets and Kyle and the other big men in the city, the Zach Williams, Zach Christ King, and all the good teams had big men. But the way we played, it just took them out of their element. It was just, you had to play us at this different type of basketball, which they wasn't used to. So if you played us, we was built to smack teams. So all those teams we played only one time, they would get it bad. They wouldn't know what happened. Next thing you know, you're down 25-30. But Rice, they started getting closer and closer the more we played them. First time we played them, we beat them by like 10 at home. Played them at Riverbank. They just kind of lost it that game. I don't know. We won by 20. And then the next game, we only won by 4. And then the city championship, I think we won by 5. So they started kind of figuring it out. It wasn't like we was just totally better than everybody, but we just had a style of play that nobody could get ready for. I think that was our most crazy gift.
Yeah, man, that's crazy. To beat them 4 times in 1 year, that's, you know what I'm saying? That's crazy. Just to beat them 1 year.
Yeah, it was to the point we was getting really nervous towards the city championship and like starting to be like, yo, this is not fair, man. How we beat them 3 times and we still might not be champions. This is crazy.
Nah, but y'all won though.
But that's the pressure that comes with it.
Yeah. And they actually mentioned that. They actually talked about it in their book about Rice High School. It's called The Street Stops Here. A year at a Catholic high school in Harlem. So they mentioned that game in the book.
Yeah. I gotta read that.
Yeah, so it was basically that's
the city championship game. They made it.
Yeah, they mentioned that game too.
That's interesting.
Yeah, man.
Now Rice got a history, man. It's crazy that it closed, man.
Yeah, now it's a charter school. Very unfortunate that they had to close. You know what I'm saying? Like, I know that there were some attempts to, made to save the school, but sometimes it's big business. Parochial schools are big business. So, they unfortunately had to let it die, which was sad. Rest in peace, Rice High School, man.
That's a fact.
So you guys move on to Glens Falls, and I guess you played Kennedy?
We played Kennedy, yes. We played Kennedy, and we lost. Word. Funny story about that was we played them in the beginning of the year, which a lot of people would say was like my coming out party. I think I had like 30 and for them. We beat them by like 40. What happened was they didn't have Elvis Rivera. Elvis Rivera was a point guard from the Heights. He was a real good point guard. He was solid. He might have went low D1. I'm not sure what happened in his career, but he didn't play. I think he was ineligible. So they had nobody to handle the ball. And we beat them by 40. So we didn't think it was going to be a tough game. And we ended up, my bad.
That's cool.
We ended up going to Glens Falls the day of the game. So, like, the coach was expecting us to win, stay in the hotel, and then play Mount Vernon the next night for the States. So we was, like, a little like, already kind of out of it. It was a long drive. It was cold. Like, the court was on a rink. It was just a tough day.
Wow.
We had it in our minds that we was going to go up there, we was going to be in a hotel, we was going to be lit, chilling. Because, you hear those stories, like, of what was going on in Glens Falls. All the teams is up there together.
Wow,
and it didn't turn out like that. So we got there, we kind of already was not in a great mind state to play. I think we lost by 2. But they had some good players, though. They had Willie Shaw, J.C. Mathis. These are 2 big-time players. They had a 4-man. He was really good. And they had a shooter. I don't think he went D1. He wasn't, but he could shoot the ball. And then they had Elvis Rivera running the point. They had a good team. They caught us on a good day.
So after the season, you won numerous awards. Player of the Year with the Daily News. Player of the Year with Newsday. Player of the Year with the New York Post. And last but certainly not least, New York State Mr. Basketball. How did it feel winning all the honors, man?
It felt crazy. It was like I said, it was just a wave of emotions. Like, it's like, damn, like, I got all this shit. This is all this hard work. This hard work paid off. This run we had was crazy. It was those type of thoughts. But then it was like, damn, how does this happen? Because it's like, how does this happen? How does this all just come at once? Like, it's just weird, like,
It'd be like that. So yeah, shout outs to shout outs to the St. Ray's graduating class of 2000.
Yes, sir.
It was a good year. So,
great.
So how was your recruitment afterwards?
Well, I got recruited before the season.
Mm-hmm.
I signed. They had what you call an early signing period.
So you signed in November. Okay.
I signed before the season even started.
Wow.
Yeah, I had UMBC and LIU recruiting me. Those are the only 2 schools that recruited me. So I went on a visit to LIU. I was like, nah, I want to get out the city. And I went to Maryland. It was beautiful out there. So I'm like, all right, Gary, I'll just listen to the experts. Like, I didn't have like anybody who knew, like, uncle or my parents who understood like the inner workings of New York City basketball, of what was going on. Like, nobody, you know what I mean? So just listening to the experts. Gary D said, yo, you need to take this scholarship. I'm like, all right, let's do it then. All right, come on.
Wow. That's crazy. And I'm sure a lot of coaches.
So this is another thing. What I'm saying, like you could have told me to wait, but this is what you thought of my game. You said, yo, they saw you, they don't like you. You need to take the scholarship and get a scholarship. So
damn,
it's like it's just weird. It's like, yo, all these coaches, all these All-Americans you coach, you mean to tell me you're not confident that as the year's going on, you can't get one coach, you can't be like, yo, take my guy. Yo, you know what I mean? Take my guy. Like, wow. You start thinking about that. Like,
that's crazy. So he just told, yo, take this scholarship down because you ain't gonna get nothing better.
Yeah, said take the scholarship. You're probably not gonna get nothing better. You're not gonna get nothing better.
And I'm sure there's probably other coaches, once they saw how well you were doing, they were like, damn, I wish we had gotten to him earlier. Or they probably wanted to recruit you, but yet once you were signed, you know what I'm saying? That was that.
That was that, man. From the first game of the season, I knew. And the crazy thing is my team, everybody knew it was what it was gonna be. It was crazy because we played in the tournament to start the season. We played in the tournament in PA. We smoked them teams. We played 3 teams. We just dominated, beat them by like 40. I think I was scoring like 30. Jules was scoring like 30. And everybody, at that point, we knew, like, yo, we about to kill this shit. We on the way home, and that's when the preseason articles come out.
Mm-hmm. Daily News, right?
Ranked teams, huh?
Was it the Daily News, Newsday, or the Post?
The Daily News. It was the Daily News joint.
Okay.
So we on the bus, and now at this point, my teammates is excited for me. They feel like, yo, Peter's the one. Peter about to go off, and then somebody on the phone telling everybody who's on the list and all that, and everybody's like, damn, Pete ain't on there. Pete ain't on. Like, you could see them hurting for me. It was that kind of thing. And then, but we knew though, like, yo, we about to kill everything. And then we came home and we played Kennedy, our first game in the city in Fordham. Everybody after the game, soon as the game is over, yo, where you going to school? Yo, yo, oh my God, you're so great. And it's like, yo, you know what I mean? Right away, I knew, yo, it's gonna be the story of my life, man. This shit. Everybody, we knew it right away.
Yeah, man. That's crazy. So, UMBC, talk about that experience. The 2 years that you spent at UMBC.
Solid 2 years. School was fun. Maryland was very, very nice, very peaceful. Got good grass, space. DC is close. A lot of schools in the area. Spent some time at Morgan State. Had a blast, man. Partied in DC. UMBC was fun. On the court, we had a good team. I started every game. I got Rookie of the Year. The coach really put the ball in my hands. That was the first time, like where politics went all the way in my favor. The coach was like, "Oh, here's everything." Starting, playing 30 minutes. I'm shooting the ball when I want. We had a real good team. I think we lost in the semifinals. Both years I was there, we lost in the semifinals. Wow. But I played for Coach Tom Sullivan. He was cool. He was from the city. I think he got drafted by the Knicks, actually. He was like 6'6". So my sophomore year, he really opened it up for me. I led the team in every category. We was kind of playing like a triangle offense. It was cool. Like, I would get the ball like on the foul line corner. They would cut off me. I'd turn, I face, I drive, or I shoot. We pressed, played up and down. It was a fun basketball situation for me. Like, I was able to play a real nice style of ball.
And you put up great numbers at UMBC. I see, hold on. So you averaged 15.5 points and 5 rebounds as a freshman and 16 points and 7 rebounds as a sophomore. That's good.
And look how them assistant steals is healthy too. Yo. I led my team. They said I was like the only player in the country to lead this team in 4 categories. I led the team in assist and steals too. So I was like all over the court, trying to make things happen. resourceful. My thing was just make a play. If I could make a play, I'm good. Get a steal, get a rebound. You know what I mean? Get some buckets. It all add up. Try to do a little bit of everything. The more you could do, the more valuable you were. So that was always my thing.
So yeah, like what happened? Why did you leave UMBC?
It was a lot of reasons. It was not only basketball reasons, which a lot of people might think. I wasn't doing well academically there. UMBC was a real tough school. It was a real good school. Like in hindsight, I wish I would have took it more seriously and been ahead with my studies. But they were big on technology. They had a major called information systems, and a lot of the players were taking it. And it sounded so cool. Like, yo, you're gonna be a coder and all this. So I started taking those classes early instead of like, taking the core classes towards your associates and figuring out your major later. And I started failing a couple of those and dropping classes. And by the time end of my sophomore year, you're supposed to have like 60 credits or close to 60, be right there. I think I had like 36 credits. So that played a factor. Also, a few of us had gotten in a couple incidents at school. A little, not major stuff, but it wasn't only me who transferred. So it was a couple of us who transferred, and it was kind of like, well, I don't know if I want to stay if you leaving. We probably wasn't gonna have as good a team. So,
wow,
we had a real good team. We had 20 wins my sophomore year, and we were young too, but. We all transferred. I transferred. Will McClurkin was there. He transferred to Marist, and Ron Yates transferred to St. Peter.
Mm-hmm.
And we were all starters. We all were good. You know what I mean? So we all had our little issues there, and it was kind of like, all right, it's probably best to transfer. So it wasn't only basketball reasons.
Wow. And then you came home to that school on the hill in Riverdale, Manhattan College. What made you decide to go to Manhattan?
Coach Gonzalez, him and Coach Masiello. Gonzalez was like he could sell you a river to a dream. I was looking at going to Illinois. Norm Roberts was recruiting me, which is when Bill Self was a coach. He really wanted me to come down there. He thought it would be a good situation for me. Then when I talked to Gonzalez, and I saw what Lou Flores was doing, and he was laying it out for me, he was like, "Yo, look, Lou's gonna next year. You're gonna sit out. Lou's gonna do what he do. Then it's gonna be Lou's senior year. It's gonna be like Batman and Robin. He's like, just think about it. Player of the year coming home. Lou is already gonna have us on the map. We're gonna win. We're gonna go to the tournament. Scouts are gonna be looking at Lou, and then you next up." And the way he laid that out, that made more sense to me to take that shot of it and that path than trying to go to a big school and maybe only having the role of not being featured maybe. And even though it's easier to get a shot from a big school, the way it was laid out at Manhattan, it seemed like a good path. And I wanted to be a pro. I had aspirations. I wanted to play pro basketball at the highest level I would have a chance to. So it was a gamble to try to get drafted. That's why my focus was.
Mm. Talk about, playing for Bobby G. What kind of coach was he?
He was intense. He was demanding. He was he was pretty crazy. Love to win. He was a maniac, maniacal about winning. He was just a unique individual, man. One of a kind guy, man. This guy, he made you nervous. You never was comfortable around him. He was always on your toes, and everything was like life or death, man. It was like some of the sayings he used to have. It was just crazy. Some of the stuff he used to say.
And now let's talk about the 6th borough, the fan section at Manhattan College. That's probably one of the littiest fan sections I've ever actually got to see. Them, I think, is between them and the Roman Catholic High School student section in Philly. That's probably the best. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like, they talk shit to everybody that walks through. I love the 6th borough. I miss them this season. But yeah, man, talk about the 6th borough.
Yeah, we had some great atmospheres, man. I was blessed to be on them good teams. We had some packed houses, man. Whew. And you know, the way Manhattan is, it was a small gym, but you know, the bleachers, if the bleachers was full, then you'd have people standing around a little bit. So everybody wanted to see us play. We had some good teams, man.
What were the games like against Iona, St. Peter's? But more specifically Iona, because they were the rival school.
That was the rivalry. The Iona games was, well, damn. What, can I say they were intense? Yeah, they were pretty intense. Yeah.
Yeah, man, that's good. So your junior year, you guys won the MAAC championship and went to the NCAA tournament. Talk about the experience of playing in the big dance.
Big dance was crazy. Amazing experience. It went well. We came up short in the second round, but we won a game. We made a lot of people proud. Winning a game there. Just crazy. From flying, staying in the hotel with all the teams, and going to work out, and seeing the NCAA on the court, and the camera crews getting ready, and all that type of stuff. It was hard. It was an amazing experience.
Amazing. Now, talk about upsetting Florida.
Yeah, we upset Florida. That was a big win. I was confident going in, real confident. We was all confident, and we played great. They were like number one in the country at one point in the year, and then they started becoming like falling off towards the end. I think one of their main players had a little injury, and David Lee played, but we had Dave Holmes, who was one of the best players in the MAAC as a 4-man. So we liked our chances, and we all played well. I played well offensively. Lewis Peck played well offensively, and we beat them pretty easy, which was good. Everybody start calling your phone. You know, you're getting a bunch of voice messages. Everybody seeing you play. It's a good win.
Yeah, so
I actually was upset because I felt like we should have beat Wake Forest. So
y'all played CP3 after. What was it like playing against him?
Yo, he was doing some stuff that I had never seen before, man. It was I could easily say he's the best player I played against, man. He made some big plays. They wouldn't have beat us without him. He had 29 points, like 7 rebounds, 7 assists, and like 2 steals and like 2 blocks or something. Like, he did it all, man. Wow. He did it all. The funny thing is, I actually matched up good with him. The few times we met, I actually ripped him one time, which is crazy because I've never seen, and all watching him playing the NBA, I've never seen anybody just take the ball from Chris Paul. I took the ball from him. Like, literally, me and him, like, close to the half-court line, I'm guarding him, and I stole the ball from him. And I've never seen nobody do that too.
No,
but he just dominated us, man. I remember he had 20 at halftime. He was just coming at us and doing it all. Bobby Gonzalez was like, "How much does Chris Paul have?" And coach was like, 20, coach. Oh, God. I swear, everybody else was under control. We lost by 4 points. If it wasn't for him, we would have won. Then we would have played St. Joseph in the next round with Delonte and Jameer. I had it all mapped out.
Mm-hmm.
We were going to beat Wake Forest. I was going to outplay Delonte West. And then I thought I was going to put my name in the draft. and then I was gonna take it out, and then I was gonna come back and have a big senior season. And then I was gonna get drafted. I had it all planned out, and then we lost to Wake Forest. Yeah.
That's crazy, man. Now, before we get to the last season, how was it playing with Luis Flores, man? He was a beast back then.
He was the hardest working player I ever played against. Lou was running across the GW Bridge every day, man.
You talking about the GW Bridge going towards Jersey or just going towards the Bronx?
It's going back and forth.
Wow.
Lou was in the gym before practice, after practice. When we ran the track to get ready for the season, he was always first. He wanted it, man. Lou was a self-made player. Lou wasn't super talented. He had a couple moves, but everything was polished. Everything was perfected. He was in amazing shape. He was built like a boxer, man. He had these big, strong hands. And he just outworked you. Like the game, second half is starting. It's like the game is just starting for him. You know, he's shooting a good, pure jump shot. Like, make a miss. It's like you see how like Kyrie is? Like that shot just looked nice. It looked like he got a shot every time. Lou was like that type of polished player. He was a machine.
Yeah, man. So your senior year at Manhattan. So yeah, you put up better numbers than you did the previous year. So like, what happened with the team?
Oh, well, Luis Flores left. Lou graduated, got drafted. Then Dave Holmes graduates as well. He was second team all MAAC. He was a four-man, real great player. He was averaging like 13 and 7. And then, so we lose those two. We bring in 2 freshmen. We get Arturo from Rice. We get another dude, CJ Anderson from Ohio. He was tough. But we became a young team. Mm-hmm. And then after winning 2 years straight, you know how that is. Now everybody want to kill you. You know, right. Lou is gone. So it was just one of those like adjustment years, kind of like, you know what I mean? It was tough to win. I couldn't, even though I played well, I couldn't. It wasn't enough to like carry us to enough wins for us to have a good season like that.
Yeah, man. Now, shout out to the Manhattan College graduating class of 2005. Now, you went and played overseas, man. You know, talk about the overseas experience. Like, how long did you play overseas for?
I played 6 years overseas. Got to visit a lot of nice places in the world. Got to play some good basketball. It was amazing for the most part. You appreciate it now as you older, you know. Looking back, getting to live in France, getting to live in Czech Republic, hanging out in Prague, stuff like that. You appreciate it a lot more now. You know, you going through it, you know, you always like, you know, I should be getting more money, or, you know, this and that. But now you appreciate it a lot more. Like I was terribly blessed through basketball, man. All because of the dream. All because of from just playing outside my grandmother's house to doing that. Like I think about it now, like that's crazy. Yeah, and a lot of people didn't get to experience that.
Yeah, of course.
Players who might have been great players in high school and even college, for whatever reason, a lot of people didn't get to go overseas. So,
or play in the pros at all. Period.
Yeah.
Yeah, man. That's just the
My
reality.
man Majestic was an All-American. Then he tore his knee up.
Yeah, that was sad. That was really sad right there.
So you look at it like that. Like, he had all the accolades and was big in high school, and then but he didn't get the chance to play overseas. So it's like, would you rather have it that way, or, you know? So it's like kind of that thing too, where everything's not for everybody.
So did you ever get to play in any of the pro-ams, like a Dykeman, EBC, Pro City?
Yeah, I played in all that stuff. I used to love playing in Pro City. I would play with Mr. Couch. Mr. Couch would always throw me on the B team, but I would get to play a lot, and I would get to. I always wanted to guard the best dudes. Like we would play. We played Steph one time. Nobody wanted to guard him. I loved it. I got a chance to guard him. This was when I was still in high school. So I got to play in pro-am since 17, thanks to Mr. Couch. Yeah, but I would play Rucker. I would play Rucker and Dykeman and all that. Kingdom was my shit. Like Kingdom was the one I really.
Yeah, Kingdom, another Harlem staple that's no longer around. Kingdom, right. Man. I never really got to experience Kingdom when it was live. I probably played in it when I was younger, but by then there wasn't that many people in the park anyway. But yeah, man, that's another staple, another prime Harlem real estate that's just not around no more, and that they should do something with, which is Kingdom. Like they got to bring it back, or at least build another tournament over there or something.
Yeah, well, you know, a lot of it was the hip hop influence. Like Damon Dash stepped in and like put a lot of money behind it and made it his, and it was that type of culture. It was like where you wanted to be. It was more than a tournament. It was what you had to be doing. Yeah, so that was a fact. I think when he stepped away from it, everything kind of like slowed down. Yeah, but I was like, once again, I'm glad I caught that era. And Kingdom was my thing. Like I cared about playing well in Kingdom. I cared about playing really well in Kingdom.
Right, because you were from the neighborhood, so you had that pride.
Yeah.
Yeah, man. So now you're an educator in, the DOE system. So for 4 years you were at Bronx Lighthouse Charter School. Talk a little bit about that experience.
Yeah, I was there 2 years at Bronx Lighthouse. I started subbing for 2 years. That's how I got into it. And then I got put on over there, and I taught science to fourth graders over there. Charter school is way different than public school. Charter school it's a lot. It's a lot on you, man. I think we was working 7:45 to 4:45. It was different. Yeah, each charter school lives by its own rules, So
yeah,
it's at will hire, at will fire. So you really got to be on your P's and Q's and doing what you got to do. So I'm happy where I'm at now. I did everything to do all the requirements to become a licensed special ed teacher with the DOE, and I love it. I love the space I'm in now. I'm very blessed. And I worked hard, man. I worked hard at this in basketball, man. You've seen Kenny Anderson documentary, that light basketball?
Yeah. I've seen. I actually went to the matter of fact, I think I might have gone to the screening for that, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, I went to the I believe I was at the screening and then the after party.
Yeah, so it's true, man. It's tough to find your way. And even when you think you find your way, it's obstacles, So just like with basketball, I had to push through to become licensed teacher. It's a grueling process. Like they need Black teachers. There's only like 2% of Black male teachers. And I'm blessed to fill that void and do a service that's needed. And it feels good helping people,
Yeah.
No, and there's a lot of reasons there's not a lot of Black male teachers, but I think one of the reasons is it's such a grueling process. Like you have to get your master's, you have to pass like 6 certification tests, you got to do this portfolio, and if this is something you weren't doing already, like as an undergrad, or if you haven't been in school buildings, and if you're going in this cold turkey, it's a lot to learn, Right. And I did that,
No, I hear that. Trust me, I work in a DOE building, but I work for a nonprofit, New York City Mission Society, which is up the block from where you grew up at Minisync. You know what I'm saying? So I work for a nonprofit. So the school I work at is in Brownsville. It's called Brooklyn Democracy Academy. So it's an alternative school. So I mean, yeah, I deal with a lot of the kids that are older, kids that are 15 to 22 years old. You know what I'm saying? So we dealing with kids that are basically have been broken by the system. You know what I'm saying? Like a lot of kids, for whatever one reason or another, they couldn't function at a traditional high school. You know what I'm saying? They have behavioral or emotional problems. They have
chronic absenteeism.
Yeah, we dealing with a lot of that. So
grade levels, ninth grade levels, and all that. Yeah, I know those type of schools.
So yeah, this is my second year there, and I like that. You know what I'm saying? I like what I do. You know, just reaching the youth, because right now they need people like me and you. You know what I'm saying? Two guys that went to college. Graduated, and are now giving back to the youth with our time. You know, because let's just face it, a lot of these kids don't have role models out there. So that's where we come in. We could be their role models.
Right.
So, but yeah, it's crazy with what's going on with the DOE right now. Like, they lost, because of this pandemic, bro, they lost 200,000 kids. Like, a lot of people they pulling their kids from the DOE and sending them to either charter or Catholic schools.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Don't get me wrong. I love I'm a product of the DOE system. You know what I'm saying? But, it's just a lot. It's just been a mess. And part of that was after seeing what I see every day at work, it was like my little brother. He's a freshman at Hayes now. I decided to try to get him into Hayes, because I feel like high school is very, very crucial for these kids. It's the time that will make them or break them. Some kids, if they're gifted, really talented and gifted, a lot of them aren't gonna if you put them in a situation like the local hood school, some of these kids, it'll be very, very easy for them to slip up because they're bored and they're not being challenged. Or some kids just don't survive high school. So they either end up in a situation like the school I'm at, or they wind up having to go get the GED or drop out altogether.
Yeah.
Certain kids you have to nurture. Some kids you have to get out of the public schools, because it's like these schools are just not nurturing their talent. And a lot of the teachers, you know what I'm saying, although they're good people, just can't relate to our kids, unfortunately.
Well, that is true, man, and the world got a lot of problems, man. We in some tough times, man. Tough times. I was watching a joint. There's a documentary, like the ocean, the commercial fishing industry is just killing the ocean. Like, it's so many animals that are at risk of extinction.
This past year has been really, really crazy. So much is going on. Like, I'm fortunate that I've been able to travel, do it with my platform. Like, I've been to Miami, Georgia, Minnesota in 2-degree weather, Dallas, Texas, and I'm fortunate, Boston, New Haven. You know what I'm saying? I'm fortunate to have been able to go to different cities throughout this pandemic. You know what I'm saying? But a lot of people just been cooped up at home. A lot of people really been struggling. I just hope that we all get back to some type of normalcy soon.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? But right now, we could deal with the 4 days a week. The 4 days a week where the kids be in school and they just let the Fridays off. You know what I'm saying? Yep. At least let's keep it that way for at least another year. Because although things seem to be getting better, who knows how much longer this virus is still going to be around? Because like they're saying, like, oh, it's going to be an uptick, so we don't know whether it's going to go away. But the current format of the 4 days a week, I could do that. You know what I'm saying? I could let's, you know what I'm saying? Like, let's give the teachers off on Fridays so they could plan for the rest of the week. I think that would be really good.
I don't know if the DOE gonna follow that one. That's good. Y'all got that.
Yeah, man. So you also directed a short film too. Talk about a little bit about that.
Yeah, man. You know, I think at this point it's good to always try new things and chase your ideas and your dreams, man. Like you only live once and you got to do it. So it all came to me from I went in the St. Raymond's Hall of Fame a couple years ago. I think a year and a half ago. You know, shout out to Coach Lopez. Coach Lopez gave me my flowers, put me in the Hall of Fame, and I wanted to give a speech. I wanted to give this big speech and make it impactful. And I was writing it like I really took it seriously and wanted to say something. And then I realized, like, damn, it's only gonna be like 60, 50 people here anyway. And one of my friends, he do music and stuff. So I was like, let me go in the studio and see how this sound. Let me say this out. And I did it over some instrumental, and it just came out like real dope. So I made it into a short film. So and it did well. I came in second place in this sneaker fest in Portland. It got real good views. It's real creative. It's great to get an idea off, man. So I did that, and then I turned that around, and I did another short film called The Spirit of Dennis Green. And that one is like, I had like 8 people in it, and it's like loosely based on my life as an educator. I played an educator and a gambling addict, and had a situation where I did a bad business deal with some partners, and to fix it, I had to do this big meeting. It all leads up to this big meeting where I'm supposed to fix everything. So got some ideas off. I started writing a couple more scripts, and it's something I really like, and maybe it'll turn into something.
Wow, man, that's big. So the name of your media company is called MP Media?
Mulligan Pierce Media, yep. Mulligan Pierce. Paul Pierce was one of my favorite players. So I put my last name first, Mulligan Pierce, and then Media. So yep, that's my joint. Just trying to collaborate, get with like-minded people and people into the arts, into film and all that, and see where it could see what more creativity I could do.
This is dope, man. So this is one of the questions before I lead up to the final question. If you could go back in a time machine to 2000, what would you tell a young Pete Mulligan at 17 as he's already signed his Division I scholarship, is about to lead St. Ray's to a city championship, and wins Player of the Year in multiple honors, but is also having that chip on his shoulder?
Yeah, I would just say, man, that's a real good question. Man, I would just say, I think I would say count your blessings, man. Like I would say count your blessings, because hindsight is always 20/20, but it's definitely lucky to be in that situation and to do all that stuff, Just count your blessings, A lot of people, not everybody gets justice in life. It's life, things happen. So I would just say to that person, count your blessings, man. Keep doing what you're doing.
Indeed. Final question. What's next in the future for Peter Mulligan and MP Media?
I got two scripts right now. I'm thinking about shooting one this summer. If it permits, if everything works out. But yeah, I'm just networking, man. Networking, putting everything in film festivals. I definitely want to work with somebody and do something. So if I don't do my own joint next, I definitely would like to partner, but I'm definitely gonna be more around it. I'm talking to people who into it, really into it. So when sets start opening up, I'm gonna start going to different sets and learning and, just trying to make it, you gotta practice. So just trying to keep it going. Indeed. But I'm always writing. The writing is there. So whenever it's time to go, it's time to go.
Indeed. Yeah. Pete, thank you for coming on to share your story, and I wish you and MP nothing but the best moving forward.
All right, man. Appreciate you, Dave.
Indeed. Well, everybody, this is episode 113 of Hoops Talk with Dave's Joint. Shout outs to my guy, Peter Mulligan, for coming on to share his story. For those of you from Harlem, the West Side of Harlem, that is, St. Ray's, Manhattan College, numerous basketball people, for those of you guys that are students of Mr. Mulligan, or even supporters of MP Media, go check it out on YouTube, Facebook, and IGTV. Definitely check out this interview. And everybody support Mulligan Pierce Media. Everybody stay safe, stay blessed. Peace.